gotcha. Good evening. I wish to call the Lee County Board of Commissioners to order this 16th of December 2024. If you would be so kind, please stand for the invocation, and we'll follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, in this season of celebration, we ask that you understand that we are asking for instruction to pray for our governing officials as we come to you in the spirit of this petition. We pray for our national, state, and county government and its executive, legislative, and judicial servants. May they indeed be servants unto the people and govern in a virtuous manner that protects the right to life, liberty, and property. May they all heed your mandate in Romans 13:4 to be in position of authority as God's servant and for the good of the public. They govern in what we confess are difficult times. May they plead with you to give them wisdom, and may your grace to govern wisely be poured out on them. Protect us from the oppression and the loss of freedoms that other countries have experienced, and help us to value and preserve freedom, which we know comes only from you. In the most holy and precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. In celebration of the season, I am wearing my Christmas camouflage, so if you wish pictures with me at the Christmas tree after the meeting, please get with me. I do have an additional item to add to the agenda, and it'll be item 2I, which is a telehealth grant for fiscal year 2026 to add to the consent agenda. And under new business, under 6A, Trillium Healthcare, because of the nature of Ms. Pierce, she has to travel from Wilmington. We will have her give her presentation prior to the public hearing. So it'll be item 3A. Any additions to the agenda?
I would like to add a closed session per General Statute 143-318.11A4 to discuss matters relating to a location or expansion of a business, please.
We'll add closed session following Commissioner comments. Any other additions? Seeing there are none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So moved. Motion's been made to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion's been made to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All righty. And Pam, are you here? Pam Turley? Okay. Is Amaya Neal Tyser here? Amaya? Okay, could you stand up, young lady? Would you be so kind to come up forward and introduce yourself, please? Yes, ma'am, right up here at the podium. Amaya Neal Tyser is a Lee County Youth Council member. She is a junior at Lee County High School and the vice chair for her second term as Youth Council.
Hello, everyone. Like you said before, my name is Amaya Neal Tyser. I'm a part of the Lee County Youth Council. I'm super excited to be the vice chair and to continue on being the voice of the youth.
Thank you very much. Welcome, and you're staying for the whole evening, but when we go into closed session, you can depart.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, next item on the agenda is Trillium Healthcare, Cecilia Pierce, Ann Kimball.
Good evening, Chairman Smith and Commissioners. Thank you so much for having us in this evening. Typically, Trillium and Legacy Sandhills would come before you once a year to provide an annual presentation, kind of providing an update on activities throughout the year and outcomes for residents. There have been a lot of changes in the Medicaid space and with Trillium ourselves, and so we wanted to provide kind of a mid-year update to talk a little bit about Medicaid enrollment, about the plan that we cover and other plans that are covered through Medicaid, and a little bit about some of the things that we've seen since Tailored Plan launch. And I am here with Ann Kimball, our Head of Community Engagement and Empowerment. So we appreciate being able to come before you, and also appreciate Commissioner Smith's service on our Southern Regional Advisory Board, and Walter Ferguson, who's serving on our regional board as well, and on our governing board. Your commitment to the behavioral health system and the public health system is very much appreciated as a partnership. Next slide. So just a reminder, Trillium is the local management entity and managed care organization covering Lee County and 45 other counties in North Carolina. It says Eastern North Carolina. I don't think we really are East anymore. East and mid-state. And by managing multiple plans, we cover services for people who have the most significant mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities, including traumatic brain injury. We also cover a state-funded benefit plan that serves individuals without insurance and who have behavioral health needs as well. And our member and recipient service line is on the slide here. If anyone is in need of services and thinks they might be eligible or has questions about whether they're eligible for services through Trillium, I would encourage you to call our member and recipient service line, and you can also visit our website. Next slide. So before Medicaid transformation, the local management entities, managed care organizations, covered all the behavioral health services for Medicaid members throughout the state, and the physical health care was covered through a separate network. North Carolina has been moving through the process of Medicaid transformation for a couple of years now. It started out with the individuals who have mild to moderate behavioral health needs being served by commercial health plans, which are called standard plans. So those standard plans are listed here on this slide: WellCare, United Healthcare, Healthy Blue, which is Blue Cross and Blue Shield, AmeriHealth Caritas, and Carolina Complete Health, which is a provider-led entity that's serving specific health regions in the state. And so they are the first plans that started whole person care, serving both behavioral health and physical health needs for people who are receiving Medicaid. In July of this year, the 4 LME MCOs, Trillium, VIA, Partners, and Alliance, began operating as tailored plans, providing that whole person care to our assigned Medicaid recipients throughout our regions. Next slide. So there are a couple questions that we get asked fairly often about the difference between a standard plan through Medicaid and a tailored plan through Medicaid. So I just wanted to explain that really quickly. Standard plans offer a basic service plan for individuals with those low to moderate behavioral health needs, as well as all their physical needs. And they provide some basic behavioral health services like outpatient treatment and medication management, as well as some slightly more intensive substance use outpatient treatment that is recently approved in order to reduce barriers to access. And then individuals, children who are being served by standard plans are also eligible for Child First early intervention through a special program called EPSDT. Tailored plans offer those basic services but they also cover a plan that has enhanced services and residential services. And you'll see the list there for enhanced services and residential services. I won't go through all of them, but for children, you'll see things like adolescent day treatment that are offered in conjunction with the schools for children with more intense behavioral health needs, multisystemic therapy. For adults with mental health concerns, you'll see assertive community treatment and community support team programming. And then for individuals with substance abuse, ambulatory detox is one of those services. And then residential services are available to our members who are not able to live independently and need some support in their residence. And so you'll see some of the different residential service options. And those services are really designed to meet the more complex needs of our population. Next slide. So tailored plans are about 5 months into launch of our whole person care model. So along with now covering the physical health needs, in addition to those behavioral health needs that we were providing before, there are a couple other services under our plan. Non-emergency medical transportation is something that we're covering for our tailored plan members. We cover pharmacy benefits, durable medical equipment, and long-term services and supports through our plan. So those are some different supports that we are able to cover to really address that whole person care and some of the needs that correspond. Next slide. Tailored care management is a service that is really a cornerstone of us operating as a tailored plan. It really provides the opportunity for a member to develop a plan of care, to receive support both through physical health expertise and staffing, as well as our behavioral health experts within our organization and outside. And then to have that plan of care monitored and supported through connections to providers and community resources throughout the year to make adjustments so that members really own their care, own what it means for them to be independent, and engage with providers and services of their choosing. Tailored care management is offered by the plan, which is Trillium, and the other LME MCOs, but it is also offered by providers. And there's 2 types of providers. One is a care management agency, similar to some of the behavioral health providers that you might be familiar with, like Daymark or Easter Seals. And then other care management providers are advanced medical homes, which are primary care practices that serve a majority of Medicaid members and have a better understanding of what our members' needs are. Next slide. So some of the services that are only available through the tailored plan, and this is outside of that tailored care management, some of these are services, some of these are other insurance plans that we offer. Innovations Waiver. The Innovations Waiver serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities that would qualify for an institutional level of care, but with intensive support, they're able to live in their community, either at home with supports or in a residence with some day support. TBI waiver services. So the TBI pilot waiver is still in place in one LME MCO jurisdiction. That will be expanding over the next year. We're waiting to get word on when that will happen. So we offer a limited benefit plan right now, and that will expand in the near future. 1915I services are services that were recently made available through the 1115 waiver. And those are services outside of clinical support that provides for a person's overall wellness. So things like supported employment, and respite to relieve caregivers for a little while. And then we have those state-funded services for behavioral health, IDD, and traumatic brain injury. And so the tailored plans are the only ones that manage those state funds. Next slide. One of the other questions that we get fairly often is, how does someone become a member of Trillium? Can someone choose to be a Trillium member, or are they assigned? So with standard plans, members can choose between those plans. With the tailored plan, a person has to be considered eligible, and then they will get assigned to the tailored plan based on the county where their Medicaid is provided out of. So you'll see some of the eligibility criteria here, and it is really about a person being diagnosed or recommended for those enhanced services because their need is greater than what's provided by the standard plans. So sometimes a person is eligible based on their behavioral health diagnosis alone. So some of the serious and persistent mental illnesses will make them available. Sometimes it's a matter of an individual utilizing crisis services multiple times throughout the year. So ED visits for a psychiatric need, or use of behavioral health crisis services such as a facility-based crisis, use of an inpatient substance use treatment, or a provider recommending a service that an adult or a child is not eligible for through a standard plan. And that enrollment is handled by the enrollment broker to switch that member over to Trillium if they're not enrolled with us already. During the process leading up to tailored plan launch, members were encouraged to choose a primary care doctor. If they did not choose a doctor at that time, or if their doctor was not, didn't have space on their panel, they can make adjustments throughout the year. So there's some flexibility in that so that members are served by the primary care doctor of their choice. And there was an auto assignment that the state had so that everyone was at least assigned to a primary care doctor, and they could make some changes afterward. Same went for tailored care management. So people could choose a care manager or be auto assigned if they weren't, if they hadn't made a choice. Next slide. So just digging into some of those members in Lee County. So in Lee County, and this is data from July, we're trying to update this data every 6 months, pulling it off of the State Department of Health and Human Services website that updates it monthly. So in Lee County, there are approximately 18,892, a little less than 19,000 people receiving Medicaid. For Trillium, we're serving about 4,500 of those individuals, which is about 24%. And then the standard plans are serving a little over 14,000, or about 76% of those members. And of the members that we are serving, a little over 1,100 are receiving that whole person care through our tailored plan model. And then a little over 3,000 are actually being served as Medicaid Direct members. And Medicaid Direct is the previous system we were operating under, where we only provide or cover those services related to behavioral health, and then a separate system covers those physical health services. Most Medicaid Direct members are individuals who have Medicare and Medicaid, and so Medicare covers those physical health needs for them, and we cover the intensive behavioral health. And just to point out, you'll see the pie chart here. In terms of standard plans, WellCare is the most popular plan of choice in your county for standard plan members. Next slide. So with any launch of a new plan or change with the Medicaid system, there are always some adjustments to be made, some trends and things that we notice. So one of the biggest impacts that we have seen, and Commissioner Smith is nodding his head because we've gone over some of this data at our regional board meetings, we've had an incredible increase in call volume for our call center. So in June, prior to tailored plan launch, we were receiving around 9,400 calls. In July, it almost doubled to a little over 17,000. It has dropped back down. Last month, it was about 12,000. So we're hoping over time, as members get the information they're looking for, it will drop back down to that baseline number that we're used to. With the increased call volume, it's taking our call center agents longer to get from one call to another, so that is delaying the time that we are able to just pick up the phone. Most of our calls are required to be responded to in person. So you might get a prompt to direct you to a particular area of your need, but ultimately someone is going to pick up the phone and it's going to be a live person. And so that impacts our call rates, the rate that we answer calls. Some calls are very simple. We can schedule a transportation ride for an individual. Some calls are more complex, where we're enrolling them in care management, finding out who their care manager is and directing them, or connecting them to another provider for services. We also knew that there was going to be some challenges around managing transportation. Most of the plans in North Carolina are utilizing a company called MotiveCare to manage the scheduling of those rides to and from medical appointments. And because of the unique needs of our members not only have challenges just managing their ride schedule, but they also rely on particular types of transportation. So some folks rely on something more like a taxi service or an ambulance type transportation rather than, let's say, a ride share or a shared van. And so we're working with our members to try to not only get them to their appointments, but to get them scheduled for rides in a means that's comfortable for them. Because that is really going to reduce those barriers to accessing care. And then with pharmacy, this just gives a little sense of the volume of claims that we are receiving since July, because those claims are processed in real time. Most other of our claims are processed over the course of 90 days or so. Our pharmacy claims, when you go to the pharmacy, get your medication, that claim is paid in real time. From July until mid-October, we paid out around $82 million in pharmacy claims, and that's mostly physical health claims. So while our call center is struggling a little bit to keep up with volume, and you'll see that with the numbers, so 72.8% of calls answered within 30 seconds. That's usually closer to around 95 or 97%. We are keeping up with those claims, paying claims for our members so that our members can access care with our network and providers are getting paid in a timely way. So that is a key metric that we're really happy with in terms of this transition. And then in terms of transportation, one of the things that we did right before Tailored Plan launch is look at all of the members who are regularly receiving transportation, who did not have an appointment and a ride scheduled for that first week of Tailored Plan launch. We reached out to all of those members by phone. It was a kind of team-wide effort to make those contacts, and it was about 900 members. We called every single one of them to get their rides scheduled so that they would not have a gap in care because they were not familiar with this new system. So we're getting our members, our providers familiar with these new processes, and we're hoping that things will smooth out right around the 6 to 7 month mark. Next slide. So while those medical and clinical care appointments are what we focus on, 80% of health is related to some of those non-medical needs, like affordable housing, transportation, food access, safety, education, employment, and social integration. So we continue to be focused on helping our members access benefits and resources for those things, because we know that if those things are stabilized for them, they will have an easier time in connecting to care. And so we do that in two ways. Our Neighborhood Connections team assists our Medicaid recipients in connecting with community resources. We have a few internal resources for housing and transportation that are helpful, and then we connect our members to community-based resources for some of those other things like food access and interpersonal safety. And that can be done through the call center. It's also assessed on a regular basis with care management as part of that care plan. We also have, as a standard plan, something called Trillium Advantage, which is value-added services that provide additional supports for members that help them become stable outside of that clinical care. So things like GED vouchers to help them take that test and improve their access to employment, transportation outside of medical appointments. So if our member is struggling to be able to pay to go to the grocery store to get groceries, or if they're feeling isolated and they want to go to an event in the community, we should be able to provide some transportation for that. We have a recovery app for people in substance use recovery who need some extra support. We all know that we use apps to just increase those tools in our toolbox, to be more organized, stay on top of things, and that's true for people in recovery as well. And then for housing, we have some one-time move-in assistance and some engagement incentives for that care management service, so that we can help connect our members to their care manager and have that plan of care in place for them. Next slide. So this is the last slide, and it's just the information for our various call lines so people know how to get in touch with us. And if I leave on one note, I will say that if anyone is experiencing a behavioral health crisis, they can call our behavioral health crisis line. It is staffed 24/7, 365, and so you can get support you need in order to stay stable and avoid, trying to avoid the hospital or law enforcement, and get behavioral health support if there's a behavioral health crisis. Thank you very much. I appreciate being able to share.
Questions from Ms. Pierce? Commissioner Sharp?
No, I don't have any questions, but thank you for your presentation, and it was very informative.
Thank you.
Commissioner Reeves?
Oh, yes, I've got one regarding, at one point you were discussing appointing a new board. Has that taken place yet?
That has not taken place yet. Our CEO was asked to propose a new board structure. That has been sent up to the Secretary of DHHS, and then they are handling the appointments. And so that is still in progress.
Any guarantee we're going to have a representative on that?
I am not sure who the state is looking at to provide representation.
That's being done by DHH?
DHHS is responsible for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vorbeck?
No, sir.
Commissioner Connect?
Thank you.
Commissioner Lovick?
No questions, but thank you for what you do for our county citizens and other counties also. Thank you.
Thanks.
Commissioner Martin?
No questions. Thanks for the presentation and safe travels home.
Thank you.
I do have two questions. Are we going to see an increase in innovations waivers?
That is a question for the state. Every year we seem to get an increase in the number of waiver slots. This year, I believe it was maybe 1,000 or so. And so, those are divided up among 4 MCOs. So it was a pretty small number. We would love to see more waiver slots so that our individuals with IDD can receive the full set of benefits that they really need. The 1915I services that I mentioned in one of those plan slides are services that are included with the waiver, so they do provide a little more access to home and community-based services, but they're offered in smaller amounts than the waiver offers. And so it's a bridge, but not a full bridge.
Do you know the standard wait time?
For calling.
No, for
for
innovations.
a
For
waiver.
a waiver.
It varies because of the state's formula. It varies from county to county because they are assigned by population as well as the number of slots. We are hearing somewhere between 10 and 12 years.
Regarding transportation, I know we have our Colt system here in Lee County. Does Lee County charge Trillium for the transportation, or does Trillium coordinate with the Colts?
So we utilize Motive Care, and Motive Care would be the entity that contracts with Colts. So we would negotiate the rate of payment for trips with them.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Seeing there are no further questions, please drive safely, wear your seatbelt, no speeding, and Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next year. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Cecilia. Next item on the agenda, we have 2 public hearings scheduled. The first one is a zoning map amendment request. Amy McNeil.
Good evening, Commissioners, Planning Board, staff, and citizens. This information is on pages 115 through 146 of the Commissioner's agenda packet and on pages 77 through 31 of the Planning Board agenda packet. Let's see. Can we move to the next slide? Thank you. I will pause at this time to allow the chairman to open the public hearing and to pose the question regarding any disclosure of conflict of interest.
That's conflict of interest rezoning statement. A governing board member shall not vote on any legislative decision regarding a development regulation adopted pursuant to Chapter 160D, where the outcome of the matter being considered is reasonably likely to have a direct, substantial, and readily identifiable financial impact on the member. A governing board member shall not vote on any zoning amendment if the landowner of the property subject to a rezoning petition or the applicant for a text amendment is a person with whom the member has a close familial, business, or other associational relationship. Does any board member have a conflict? Seeing none, and you want me to open the public hearing now?
Yes,
Or are you
sir.
going to give us a brief?
Oh, technically, it doesn't matter, either way.
Okay, I'm used to you giving a brief, and then we open the public hearing.
Yes, sir. Wakestone Property Company has requested to rezone 5 adjoining tracts of land totaling 14.64 acres with frontage on and/or access from Deep River Road from residential agricultural to light industrial to allow the development of a flex industrial building. Therefore, this rezoning request has been submitted for your consideration. This is a standard general use rezoning request as opposed to a conditional rezoning request. Therefore, no site plans, subdivision plans, or building plans are required as part of the rezoning request. The site is in northwestern Lee County near the Deep River community. It's on the southern side of Deep River Road, opposite the Wakestone Corporation Moncure Quarry, between 7190 Deep River Road and Boosted Lane, and it's illustrated on the screen behind you. The existing zoning is residential agricultural, and this district is established to provide areas for low-density single-family uses, low-intensity agricultural operations, as well as agribusiness and supportive industrial and commercial uses. Industrial operations are not permitted unless they clearly support an agricultural use. RA zoning, which is residential agricultural, protects and preserves valuable agricultural areas. It implements agricultural protection zoning, establishes performance standards for rural businesses, and preserves rural areas, pasture land, and agricultural. Examples of uses permitted by right within the RA zoning district include residential single-family homes, parks and playgrounds operated on a non-commercial basis, and churches. The proposed zoning is light industrial, and the light industrial zoning district is established to provide for areas that contain a mix of light industrial manufacturing uses, office park and limited retail and service uses that service the industrial uses in an attractive business park setting, with proper screening and buffering, all compatible with adjoining uses. Light industrial districts should include areas which continue the orderly development and concentration of light industrial uses and should be located as to have direct access to or within proximity to a major or minor thoroughfare. Examples of uses permitted by right within the light industrial zoning district include convenience stores with and without gas sales, landscape and garden supplies with and without outdoor storage, home centers, lumber yards, motor vehicle repair and service, motor vehicle towing, office buildings, textile and apparel manufacturing, and warehouses. And there's a list of the permitted uses for both zoning districts included within your agenda packet for your reference. Next slide, please. Adjacent zoning and land uses. To the north, opposite Deep River Road, we have highway commercial with a conditional use permit to allow the existing Wakestone Corporation Moncure Quarry. To the south, opposite Deep River Road, we have residential agricultural, to the south opposite US 1, we have residential agricultural with undeveloped wooded land. To the east, we have highway commercial, and it's developed with a vacant commercial building, formerly Culberson Motor Lines, a trucking company. And to the west, we have residential agricultural land developed with houses. The Plan San Lee Long-Range Land Use Plan identifies this property as countryside, which has the following characteristics: undeveloped lands outside the urban service area, preservation of the county's agricultural heritage is encouraged, conservation and maintenance of a rural lifestyle is supported, and limited residential density. The local example is the Avens Ferry Road corridor in northeast Lee County, and information from the land use plan is provided as attachments to the rezoning report within your agenda packet. With regard to local overlay districts, the subject property is within the Cape Fear Lee County Watershed Protection Area. A watershed is a basin-like landform delineated by ridge lines that descend into lower elevations that carries rainwater from the land into soils, groundwaters, creeks, and streams, eventually making its way into larger rivers and the ocean. Development within this area is allowed, but there are maximum density and built-upon area requirements designed to ensure the health of the watershed and to protect the public water supply. I should also like to note that the USGS, or U.S. Geological Survey map for this area, does illustrate an existing pond with an intermittent stream on site, which may be regulated by the NCDEQ, or North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. On recent aerial imagery, this pond may have been filled in, as it's not on the latest aerial images. Regarding utilities, there's an 8-inch public water main line along Deep River Road. However, there is no public sewer in the vicinity. This information is per our GIS mapping system, and if the rezoning is approved, all new development and water sewer connections must be approved by the City of Sanford Public Works Department, Engineering Department, Tri-River Water, to verify compliance with all policies and regulations, including but not limited to off-site improvements and upgrades. Private wells and septic systems must be approved by the Lee County Environmental Health Department and/or the appropriate state agency, whichever is applicable. Regarding transportation, the area proposed for rezoning has approximately 795 feet of frontage on Deep River Road, which is an NCDOT-maintained public road with a 100-foot right-of-way width at this location. This information is also per our GIS mapping system, and NCDOT must approve any proposed driveways via the site plan review approval process to verify compliance with all applicable regulations, including but not limited to traffic studies and roadway improvements such as turn lanes. The Lee County 2011 Comprehensive Transportation Plan illustrates Deep River Road as an existing minor thoroughfare with no improvements or recommendations noted, and there is a 2022 NCDOT average annual daily traffic count of 1,400 vehicles per day on Deep River Road in front of this site. Regarding the development standards, if rezoned, all of the uses permitted in the light industrial zoning district would be allowed, and any future redevelopment of the subject property will be required to meet the current development standards of the UDO. Regarding the staff analysis, the Plan San Lee Land Use Plan designation of countryside is not supportive of industrial zoning or industrial land uses. However, it is up to the Board of Commissioners to determine how the county should grow and if they are comfortable with industrial zoning and land uses at this location. Additional information presented at the public hearing should also be considered in the recommendation and the final decision regarding the requested zoning map amendment. This concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Questions for Amy? Commissioner Martin.
Amy, looking at the map, there, it looks like there's three homes there on the right. Is that, what am I looking at there on the right?
On the
On the site.
right-hand side, that is property that has been purchased by Wakestone that does have homes on it currently.
Okay. And are those the same names that are on the request on the last page, the property owners there?
Those are not the adjoining property owners. Wakestone has actually purchased those properties. The adjoining property owners are all those property owners that surround this site.
And that's who's on the last?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. No questions.
Commissioner Lovick.
No questions. Thank you, Amy.
Commissioner Connect. Commissioner Vorbeck. Commissioner Reeves.
Question.
Commissioner Sharp.
No questions.
Seeing there are no further questions, I are now opening the public hearing. If there is anyone here in favor that wishes to come forward and speak, please state your name, your address for the record.
And could we flip back to the image, the aerial, there we go. Thank you.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak on behalf?
Good evening, Commissioners, Planning Board members, and citizens. My name is Bose Bratton. I'm the president of Wakestone Property Company, and we're located at 6821 Knightdale Boulevard in Knightdale, North Carolina, 27545. I'd first like to thank Ms. McNeil for the thorough presentation this evening for our request for rezoning the 14.64 acres on Deep River Road from RA to light industrial, residential agriculture to light industrial. We do feel that a light industrial use here, given the existing commercial use to the east and the core use to the north, would provide a buffer for the then residential space moving on to the west. And after looking at this site and given the space that we have here, we believe the highest and best use of this property would be a light industrial or flex space. Especially given its proximity to US 1 and the growth that is going on up and down this corridor in Lee County and the greater area. Thank you for your consideration of this rezoning request. We're excited about the opportunity to build an attractive building in this location, to invest in the community, and to provide jobs here in this part of Lee County. At this point, I'd love to try to answer any questions you may have of the applicant, and thank you again for your consideration.
Questions for Mr. Brett? Commissioner Sharp?
No questions.
Commissioner Reeves?
None.
Commissioner Vorbeck?
I guess I'm going to piggyback off of Commissioner Martin's question. The 3 or 4-ish tracts, are they currently residential homes?
They are. There's one former owner who is living in a house month to month as they work out plans to move into a new location, but they should be in their new location well before we proceed with any sort of plans here on this site.
And is the idea to keep those as?
No, they would be included in the commercial
They would?
development.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Connect?
Thank you.
Commissioner,
The new building that you're proposing, is that something for your corporation, or is it something to rent out, or?
So this is for the Wakestone Property Company, and it would be, we don't know who the end user will be at this point. Right now, it would be a speculative investment or building.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
No questions.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anyone speaking against the rezoning? Please come forward, state your name and your address. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm not against the Wakestone proposition. My sister and I
I'm sorry, your name, please, and
I'm
address.
sorry, Carol Culberson Smith, and my address is 160 Log Cabin Lane, Sanford, North Carolina. I'm speaking as a part owner of the adjacent property to the tract that Wakestone has acquired. And I just want to know, is 7190 Deep River Road, formerly Culberson Motor Lines, which was our father's property? We have 3 acres there, and I just want to know how that's going to affect our property. I mean, will our property stay zoned as commercial, or will this apply to the corner property? That's my question.
Could you help us there, Amy?
This rezoning request will not impact the zoning of your property at all. This is just for the subject property.
That's all I need to know. Thank you very much for letting
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone for or against? Please come forward, state your name and your address, please. Good
Good
evening.
evening, Commissioners, Planning Board members, and others. My name is Barbara Matthews Partridge. I reside at 393 West Forest Oaks Drive here in Sanford. I probably live about a half a mile from Wakestone. my concerns of that area on Deep River Road. It is a very narrow and extremely congested area. We probably have about 500 or 600 dump trucks that roll down that hill, and sometimes when they can't stop across the road where they're going to build these homes or whatever, offices, every day. There's also an elementary school on that road. You know, those large trucks oftentimes will run right beside it in those school buses, and that is another concern of ours. So I ask that you not approve this request and consider the concerns of your citizens that live in northern Lee County so that we can live in a space where we feel safe. I hope that it doesn't come to the point where there has to be a deadly accident before you take any precautions on this. As I said, Deep River Road is heavily traveled, and from my understanding in talking to the gentleman earlier, there will be approximately not only regular vehicles, but possibly light trucks if you're talking about light industrial. So I ask you to please take this into consideration when you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else for or against? I have Dwight Fouché on the list here for public comments. This is where you, no, you're not going to discuss? Okay. All right, sir. Thank you. Anyone else for? Anyone else opposed? Going once? Going twice? Public hearing is now closed. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Thomas Mirsch.
Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening, commissioners, members of the planning board, staff, and citizens. Also, Merry Christmas to everyone. You'll know there is a PowerPoint projected on the screen, but I also took the liberty of putting 11 by 17 printouts just so you don't have to crane your neck if you don't want to. So this information is going to be found in your agenda packet starting on page 147 and ends on page 158. Just have a quick question. Do we need to read the conflict of interest statement again for a separate item? No?
I think it's okay if the board just acknowledges it, that they don't have any conflicts.
Any
based on the same
conflicts
statement.
here on the board? Any conflicts? Moving on.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just in case. So again, good evening. Mr. Warren Stansel, who represents Interstate Outdoor Incorporated, an advertising company based in Selma, North Carolina, has submitted a text amendment application to the community development staff, proposing some changes to section 11.9.2 of the UDO regarding outdoor advertising signs, commonly known as billboards, in Lee County. Next slide, please. So for a quick overview, section 11.9.2, and I apologize, there will be a lot of numbers in this discussion. So the current standards that are in effect are outdoor advertising signs are permitted in the highway commercial, light industrial, and heavy industrial zoning districts only. Outdoor advertising signs must be located at least 100 feet away from any residentially zoned district. So that's not the house, that's the yard, that's the property, that's residentially zoned. A minimum 1,000-foot radius is required between any two billboards, and that's measured as the billboard being the center point, and you have a circle that spans out 1,000 feet in any direction. And then the dimensions of the billboard would be limited to 300 square feet in area and 35 feet in height. And lastly, only one sign per structure or pole. Mr. Stansel's proposed amendments to this section of the UDO include the following. He's proposing to remove section 11.9.2.2, which is the requirement of 100 feet of distance between any new advertising sign, outdoor advertising sign, and a residentially zoned district or area, modifying section 11.9.2.3 to have a minimum distance between any two billboards be 1,000 feet as measured along the same route or street, not measured as a radius. The inclusion of new language for two new subsections of this portion of the UDO, the first one being, quote, changeable copy shall be allowed on new outdoor advertising signs so long as they use what the outdoor advertising industry calls sightline light direct, which is technology that limits the amount of light that is transmitted outside of the main traveled way in which the outdoor advertising is intended to be read from. And then lastly, quote, all new outdoor advertising signs must be of a steel monopole design. The only proposed amendment for which a visual rendering I felt might be helpful, and you see what's projected on the screen there, is just an image of what the text reads now, and then kind of a markup where all the red indicates changes. And that's provided at your station as well. The only visual aid, though, next slide, please, that might be helpful is showing how the changing of how the distance is going to be interpreted between the two billboards and how it's measured. The image on the left, oh, I'm sorry, that's, yeah, no, there we go, thank you, sorry. The image on the left illustrates a 1,000-foot radius for the billboard located on Highway 1 near the Pendergrass intersection, right by the radio station. That's a mix of jurisdictions here. That's Sanford ETJ, and Lee County. However, that billboard is in Lee County, but it is the most prominent one I could think of, so it's just a good example. So the red dashed lines forming the circle show the radius around that billboard, and another billboard would have to be placed outside of that circle. The image on the right shows how that distance standard would be measured with the proposed change in language, allowing for billboards to be more present potentially at certain intersections in Lee County. And lastly, on page 156 of your packet, I kind of preemptively researched out of curiosity for myself too, but I assumed that would be a question from this board, preemptively researched how other neighboring counties regulate outdoor advertising signs and provided a summary in that packet for your reference. Almost all counties that I looked into had stricter standards than our current existing language, stricter in that there are more controls or more higher standards or more obstacles for billboards, with the exception of Randolph County. Chatham County appears to be moving towards prohibiting any new billboards according to the available draft of their UDO that's posted on their website. Moore County requires a special use permit and requires that billboards be at least 200 feet away from residentially zoned property. Wake County requires a 2,500 foot radius between billboards. And again, there's a full I wouldn't say comprehensive, but it's pretty thorough list of findings there, and any text in red in that summary is what I deemed more strict. Anything in black is less strict or equal. So I will pause there for any questions you might have, and if you want to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Thomas, and I want to say thank you for the additional information from the neighboring counties. Questions for Thomas? Commissioner Martin.
Thomas, maybe a couple of questions.
Sure.
So you have some requested changes here.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in assuming that, I mean, obviously you'd love all of them, but you would accept, we can do partial?
Like approving some but not others?
Yes.
That would be entirely up to this board.
When I look at the Sightline Light Direct technology, is that the technology that is presently on the billboard on 1 North?
Sure. So I don't know that Mr. Warren Stansel and his associate, Mr. David Stuckey, are here, and they are far more well-versed in like the technology associated with billboards. You don't want me answering that question because I will randomly guess.
But am I correct in understanding that so, you know, my experience with billboards is very limited. And I know that there are the type of billboards that literally look like text, right, with an image, and there's no light emitting from them. There are others that almost look like a screen, right, and that have a lot of activity on them. Your request is to to have approval for the more active billboard, but limiting it to this new technology that keeps light, away from. Can you talk to me about that?
Well, I will defer to the applicant, Mr. Warren Stansel. This is not a staff-initiated text amendment, and he might be a little more well-versed in this and explaining the differences there. So if you'd like, I can let him speak about that, and then I can come back and answer any other questions you have.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Of course.
Hey there, good evening, Merry Christmas. My name is Warren Stansel. I'm with Interstate Outdoor. This is my associate, Mr. David Stuckey. And I wanted to clear up one of the aspects of the ordinance that I had proposed to change. So I'm not asking to get rid of radial spacing. That was still in my language that I included. It was just not to be radially spaced from a sign that's not on the same route, if that makes sense.
I think the question, well, first off, her question regarding the technology that...
Okay, sure, I'm sorry. So the current digital billboards that we have in Lee County, we have 6, and they do not have the sightline technology. It's a newer technology that, and we have this might be an appropriate time, we have a video that kind of displays and gives you an example of what that technology can do and what it looks like.
You ready, Colin, with the video?
I think it'll solve all your questions or concerns.
That does answer the question regarding the movement on the billboard. Thank you.
Sure.
So a follow-up question to that. The distance, so the car comes, the vehicle pulls forward, it lights up, the vehicle passes.
So it's constantly on. It's just it has, for lack of a better term, like louvers around each of the LEDs that projects the image at a certain angle relative to the road.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
No more questions.
Commissioner Lovick?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Connect?
Is there a particular spot you're looking at to put up some billboards or something?
So we have, and I had a couple other comments I wanted to make if that was okay. So right now we have 6 digital billboards in Lee County, and we have 6 regular traditional static faces in Lee County. Because of the demand for advertising in the county, we would like to try to expand that, and we've looked around but have not been able to find any more billboard locations that are conforming or legal to your current standards. And so that's why we came to try to do this. But to try to do it in a manner that wouldn't proliferate a lot more billboards. So if I could, oops, I was trying to play.
Billboards are ideal.
What did I do? Interstate Outdoors is a family-owned and operated company located in Selma, North Carolina. Our family-run billboard operation has been in business since 1992 and assures our customers our deep commitment to service and satisfaction. We own and operate 630 static billboards and 22 digital billboards, all in North Carolina. We feel we've been a great partner with Lee County landowners, local businesses for nearly 18 years. We own and operate 6 static billboards, 6 digital billboard faces in Lee County. Our goal is positive, non-controversial messaging that reflects the communities and citizens we serve. With the tremendous growth coming to Lee County, we will strive to educate consumers and newcomers to the area of where to eat, what doctors to use, where to buy the things they need, as well as other things to do, see, and enjoy. As media fragmentation continues to occur amongst traditional, new, and social media, the out-of-home messaging is becoming the most surefire way to hit the masses with a continuous and inexpensive message. Also, if you would, just please note that we're open to donating a percentage of the space on our displays to the town, county, to include but not limited to emergency management, parks, recreation, senior events, local festivals, and anything that is town, county related as space is requested. Space would be limited to 880 ads per day on a display in Lee County. This would exclude departments that are spending money on paid media.
Digital billboards are ideal. Digital billboards are ideally.
Any other questions, Commissioner Warbick?
Are any of these ever going to be, or does this include video?
No, they're not allowed to have video, motion, they can't flash, they can't move.
And then what was the importance of including the requirement that all new billboards should have steel monopole design?
So that they're cleaner looking, they are just a better overall structure. They're not wood, they don't rot, they don't fall apart. They're just a more reliable way of constructing them.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Sharp?
I'm good.
I did ask the tax director if he would answer a few questions about the revenue generated by these signs, especially the digital ones. Mr. Brown, would you come forward, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, as far as revenue generation, that's all going to depend on the actual cost that's actually goes into developing a site. So we have the structure itself, and then you'll have the sign. And if they're wood structures, they'll be put on a 20-year life, and the metal ones will be put on a 50-year life. And then if they are actually the digital boards, that part of the cost will be put on an 8-year life and then depreciated using that method of depreciation. North Carolina Department of Revenue has put out a billboard manual that actually guides and assists counties with how to value billboards, because you could use the sales cost and the income approach to value them. The sales and income approach method is hardest, and so the cost approach is the most applicable, and what has actually been used actually is a court case that another county was involved in, and that manual that is put out by the Department of Revenue would back that up. So the actual cost of the actual site is going to actually dictate a lot of the income with that, how the income is, how the value is arrived at, and then the income by the tax rate and such.
Thank you. Commissioner Sharp, any questions?
No.
Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Vorbeck?
Can you give an example of like what one of the current, like I guess the example in there, the digital billboard in front of the radio station? Do you have an example of like the tax revenue on that?
Well, I have an example that's actually from the North Carolina Department of Revenue's manual, the guide that they have. And basically, they have one that is a single-pole monolithic or monopole structure. It's got a 40-foot height above ground, 378 square feet. It goes on to value it. It puts a base cost on the structure at $50,300. I probably will need to give you a lot more information about the year it was built and all such as that. It actually, for this, this was original construction of 2013, and then, so you get the $50,300 from that. You actually depreciate that down to $39,234. Then you have the actual part of, it's a digital face. And in this example, it shows $150,000 cost with that. And then it's actually depreciated down in this example. I'll try to go back to find when the digital part was put in. Let's see here if I can find that. I don't see that right offhand, but it actually depreciates it down over the 8-year life. So depending on the 8-year life and where it falls, in this example, it actually carries it down to 25% good, and then that would be $37,500 in value. And then for this example, for this billboard, it's a $76,000 value. So when you actually take that and run your county and fire district tax rates against that, you're going to come up with about $800 in value for this example, okay? If it was in town, you probably would come up about $1,200 in value taxes. So I was looking to see when the when this digital sign was made part of it.
That's fine, that gives me a little idea. I appreciate that.
But it does have an original cost of the digital facing in this example at about $150,000. I'm not sure if that's typical, but this is using the January 1, 24 manual. So we'll be receiving a new manual for January 1 of 25. Should be coming up very shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Connect.
Thank you.
Commissioner Levick.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Martin.
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Seeing there's no further questions. Yes, sir.
Sorry. So there may have been a bit of a discrepancy then with the illustrated change in the text as far as radius versus along the same route. So if Mr. Stansel would like to clarify that, I'm not sure how his proposed change could be interpreted any other way than, along the same route. If it's just a matter of, a 1,000-foot radius, I don't know that the text needs to change. I'm asking that, or I'm bringing that up anyway, because if this does pass, I'd like to know how to interpret it.
Is staff going to look at this and give their recommendations?
Planning board, yes.
The planning board's going to look at it?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Seeing there are no further questions, I now open the public hearing on the UDO text amendment request, amending Article 11 sign regulations. Public hearing is now open. If you wish to speak on behalf, please come forward. State your name and your address.
Hey there, Warren Stansel again. I don't know that I answered your question, Mr. Knight. I think you're asking like how many more we wanted to put up. There's not necessarily a number. One of the reasons this came up because we had applied for a permit on 15501, and we thought we had the 100-foot setback from a field, but we didn't, and so that's how we kind of came at this, because it's a field zoned residential, agricultural, and we thought, well, maybe this could solve the problem. But because we've run into it a couple different times in the county, and just thought that maybe this would be a way to do a couple more,
Thank you.
for sure.
Anyone speaking in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak on behalf? Anyone wishing to speak against? Going once, going twice? Public hearing is now closed. We will excuse the planning board and staff. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for what you do, and if we don't see you before then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Please drive safely, wear your seatbelts, and no speeding. Colin, would you set the clock for 5 minutes? We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
It was snow time, it was show time, it was no time to be lost in downtown Toronto. It was winter time, around dinner time. I'm beginning to see that the sunshine just doesn't want to. From a side street come a backbeat pulling on me like the moon pulling on the tide. Ay caramba, one note samba, la 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 bamba, lighting me up inside. They had the heat of the sun and the beat of the talking drum, the light of a tropical moon on a night to remember. Someone summing up, someone just strumming on an old guitar, and every note the antidote to December. My first impression, some kind of procession, pulling on a long line of fancy dancers, and a band stuck up on a flatbed truck. They were raising a ruckus, swinging for the fences. Exiled Mexican textile working, punching two clocks, sending two paychecks home. Boys, hard working, law-abiding, bus-riding people, celebration on wheels, destination unknown. It was the heat of the sun and the beat of that talking drum, the light of a tropical moon on a night to remember. Someone summing up, someone just strumming on an old guitar. Yes, and
winter weather so the two of us can get together. There's nothing sweeter, finer when it's nice and cold. I can hold my baby closer to me and collect the kisses that outdo me. I love the winter weather 'cause I got my love to keep me warm. Weather so the two of us can get together. There's nothing sweeter, finer when it's nice and cold. I can hold my baby closer to me and collect the kisses that outdo me. I love the winter weather 'cause I got my love to keep me warm. I got my love to keep me warm. The snow is snowing.
Okay, if we can continue on, the next item on the agenda is public comments. And the first individual on the agenda is Mr. Jim Womack. Please come forward, state your name and your address for the record, sir, and you have 3 minutes.
Thanks, sir. Jim Womack from 1615 Boone Trail Road in Sanford. I'm going to start my clock. There you go. So I come tonight before the board about the rumors which are abounding in Lee County about some sort of anchor store which is going to be coming supposedly to Lee County in the River Birch area off of Spring Lane. And I think all of us, speaking on behalf of most of the citizens in Lee County, I think we really are interested in seeing an anchor store of that type coming, and we certainly would like to see the Spring Lane area elevated in terms of its retail capacity, rehab that facility, so there's no question about that. But there is a question, I think, about a proper use of taxpayer money and the taxpayers' dollars. And the rumor is, and I don't know if this is fact, hopefully we'll find out more in the coming weeks, that the rumor is that there's about $10 or $11 million of local tax dollars that are going to be committed to making this retail store a viability for Lee County. And that's why I came tonight. I think the relevant statutes that deal with this are Chapter 158-7.1 through 7.3 on economic development activity in the general statutes, and I've read them, very familiar with them. The relevant case law is the Moretti case of 1996, where it was Moretti versus Forsyth County on economic development policies. And I would encourage the Board of Commissioners to go back and digest those statutes and that case, because I think you're going to find that there is no way that's it's an appropriate use of tax dollars to help a retailer become viable for a business model in Lee County or anywhere in the state. Historically, targeted financial incentives are used for economic development processes for commercial purposes of producers. I think that's principally what they've been used for. Rarely is one offered for a retailer. No one questions the need to uplift River Birch, but because it's prime real estate. I mean, there's no question. And I would argue that the company that's wanting to come there is already going to go there, because their financial models, their fiscal models already cite that they have to have a certain median family income or a certain per capita income for them to even be viable at that location. So why would this county want to pick winners and losers, disadvantaging other retailers to help subsidize the business model for another retailer? I don't think that they want to. And I certainly don't think that with the people paying high rents and mortgages now that they want their tax dollars with upward pressure on the tax rates to make this possible. The truth is, if that large retailer is going to come to Lee County, they're going to come here with or without a targeted financial incentive. And I would say, if you've got $10 or $11 million burning a hole in your pocket right now, then give it back to we the people. We don't need to be bailing out some retailer so that they can become viable in Lee County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next on the public comments, Mr. Bob Joyce. And again, please introduce yourself and state your name and address.
Okay, my name's Bob Joyce, and I live at 313 Westport Place. Merry Christmas to you all. I would agree with my friend Jim Womack that we would rather not have incentives to attract business. However, I think it would be foolish for us to unilaterally disarm and not offer incentives for certain projects. We have over 500 communities in the United States that are our size. All of them are using incentives in some form to attract businesses. And I think it would be detrimental to our long-term growth here if we did not offer it. It's a marketplace condition now. We see it everywhere, and I think our incentives here have been competitive. We have not offered incentives out of reason to the marketplace, and I think we have also targeted projects that are in industries and sectors that fit with our community. We have offered incentives to projects that fulfill a long-term need in terms of workforce. We have offered incentives to projects that help build our community for the future. We have also made sure, many of you were on the boards that determine these rules, we have made sure that our incentives are performance-based. If companies do not perform, no incentive is paid. If they have received a portion of their incentive and then they do not continue to perform, we can claw back that portion that has been paid and it's returned to the taxpayers. So I would just sum up by saying it's worked. We have recruited in the last 10 years over $1 billion in industry and 1,200 jobs. You all are well aware of that. You have been able to lower the tax rate in the last 5 years by 12.5 cents because we have paid incentives to recruit jobs and tax base here. This has been done, lowering the tax rate, at a time when you also have been able to afford some of the nice amenities like the youth sports complex. Generally, we have not incentivized retail, but for special one-off projects, other communities have done this, and I would say we could take a look at many examples, even in the state of North Carolina, for these large cap investments that have the potential to increase very significantly our sales tax revenue. It also, these big box retailers help us attract more families to come to our community. So I would encourage you, please take a careful look at projects like this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is old business, considering a request from Brick Capital Community Development Corporation to extend a $200,000 loan from the revolving loan fund for an additional 3 years.
Yes, so I'll take that. The county, as you all are aware, established the revolving loan fund in 2019. The policy was amended to include loan for low-income and affordable housing. In 2021, the county did loan $200,000 to Brick Capital with a 3% interest rate for the 3 years. They've requested an extension for the loan. This time it will be a market rate interest of 6%. We held the public hearing at our December 2nd meeting in which 2 people spoke in favor of the loan. And at this time, staff has prepared the promissory note, a loan agreement for the $200,000, and then working with Brick Capital, we'll get a deed of trust on some property that they own at Jackson Heights as collateral for the term of the loan. So at this time, we're just asking for approval, and I believe Brick Capital is fine with the documents that we've prepared. So,
Questions for Whitney, Commissioner Martin?
I'm not sure that this would be directed at you, Whitney, but when we met a couple, in our last meeting, I had asked Brick Capital some questions regarding Lee County, who would be staying, Lee County residents, and if we could define resident. So I'm not sure where we're at in this process right now, but I would want some answers to some more information before we move forward.
I can't answer that. But
Carrie, would you be able to address that? Carrie Bashaw is here.
Thank you for your question. I did do a little bit more research on that. I did go back and I looked specifically at the homeowners that we created over the past 5 years. And I think I mentioned before the commissioners that rate of Lee County residents who became homeowners was 90%. I went back and looked, it was actually 100%. With that said, going forward, I did not see where we could stipulate where funds could be used for only Lee County residents when it comes to our home building program specifically, because of the various funding sources that we get both from HUD and from the Housing Finance Agency, North Carolina.
You are saying the money's going to be used in Lee County.
Correct, but as far
Taylor
as...
just may be moving from Moore County, Lee County to use it, but it's still used in Lee County, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, just making sure.
Good distinction, Commissioner, thank you. Yes, all of the funds will be used here in Lee County to build and develop housing. With that said, we have nothing that states that they have to be residents of Lee County in order to purchase a home from us. And as an example, they might potentially come from Moore County, but reside and come to Lee County to reside, if that answers your question more fully. I don't, so...
It does,
okay.
it does. Follow-up to that, we had talked also about defining a Lee County resident. It sounds like it's not particularly important because people can come in from other counties, although we've had 100% in the past 5 years of people that are in Lee County. We can't really define what that residency looks like, right? They could have just moved here for a couple of months, or they might have been living here for 2 generations. We haven't collected that data, it sounds like.
You make a good point. Yes, I would say their last address, whether that was 6 months or 2 decades, was in Lee County, though. Yes.
Understood. Another question while I have you here.
Sure.
It's $200,000, right? And we must all have a general idea of what it costs to build a home right now. So I'm curious about the $200.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if it's connected maybe to a grant or some sort of requirement from.
You're absolutely right. $200,000 would allow us to build one house, basically. And so we have used those funds to leverage other funding. So some funding sources require a 10% match, let's say. And so because of that, we've been able to stretch the Lee County dollars even further by leveraging those funds. Because you're right, I mean, $200,000 can only go so far, but with those funds, we've been able to maximize kind of that leverage there.
And are you, for your additional funding that you're referring to right now, are you required to have county funds for that? Or could it be from another source? For example, could the monies come from private? Could they be private funding?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So we have various funding sources. I mentioned the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, HUD, private funding, banks is a big source of funds. But again, it is allowing us to really leverage what the county's doing there. So certainly appreciate that opportunity.
Thank you.
With those funds. Thank you.
No further questions.
Commissioner Lovick.
No questions. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Connect.
I'm just guessing because there's probably federal funds that you probably can't limit who you can afford. You can sell a home to, shall we say. I don't think you can segregate just this county because I think there's probably federal funds.
I think you're right. The limitation, and as it's built into the loan documents there, is that the ultimate recipient is a low to moderate income home buyer. And so it's really more income-based rather than geographic-based.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vorbeck.
Just a few questions. Are the homes that you're building, are they in the county or are they in the city?
They are all right now within city limits, Sanford city limits.
Okay. And then the idea of because I had a question brought to me by a constituent in this regard, and I know I'd asked the question 2 weeks ago, but just kind of want to reiterate. The idea of this is more of a not loan, but I know I used the words last time. I was trying to think of line of credit.
Like a line.
There we
Correct.
go. So you have a certain interest rate or payment that you make monthly, correct?
That is correct.
And you're current on monthly payments?
That is correct. Yeah, we are caught up there, and essentially that comes out on an automatic basis every month.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Reeves. Commissioner Sharp.
No questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to consider or approve the request from Brick Capital Community Development?
So moved.
Motion's been made to consider and approve the request from Brick Capital Community Development Corporation to extend the $200,000 loan from the revolving loan fund for an additional 3 years with a 6% interest rate, and authorize the chair to sign any and all documents necessary to formalize the loan request. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Opposed.
I'm sorry, had one opposition. Thank you. Moving on to new business, the fiscal 2024 financial statement presentation. Candace is taking this.
Good evening. Welcome to the fiscal year 2024 financial update. Draft statements have been distributed and were placed at your seats before you arrived. We are still waiting on the local government commission approval. However, these statements have been submitted for that. The final statements will be distributed once received. Our audit for fiscal year 24 was conducted by Thompson Price, Scott Adams and Company, and Hunter Wiseman is here to speak on it.
Good evening, Mr. Wiseman.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. You should have in front of you slides as well relating to our, typically we would call it our letter to governance. These are synopsis points that cover that letter. Next slide, please. To start, your county has an unmodified opinion, or if in layman's terms, clean report. It means that we found no material misstatements in the financial statements. Material misstatements would be any misstatements which would lead a user of the financial statements to make a decision that was incorrect based upon that misstatement. You should be aware of a new accounting pronouncement, GASB 100, which is the accounting changes and errors corrections. This changes the presentation of prior period adjustments in the financial statements, hoping to add more clarity when a situation arises that requires a restatement of the previous year's financials. There were no difficulties encountered when performing the audit. We always work very well with the management of Lee County. They're very quick to provide anything that we request, anything that we need, and if there's any errors that we identify, they're quick to correct them. And to that point, there are no uncorrected misstatements or disagreements with management, so any adjusting entries which we provided to management have been posted and agreed to. Next slide, please. We were provided with our representation letter on December 5th, 2024. There has been a change in the LGC's review process. Now, this change went into effect a couple of years back now, but it's worth noting that the board is going to be expected to respond to any FPICs or financial performance indicators of concern that are identified on the Local Government Commission's data input worksheet. Next slide, please. The first FPIC relates to a budget violation where expenses exceeded the budget for the debt services for relating to GASB 96 reclassification of debt service from the departmental budget. So to expand on that a little bit, GASB 96 went into effect at the end of fiscal year 2023. It requires that the county reclassify payments on subscription-based IT arrangements, or SBITAs, to debt payments. It's very similar in classification to the GASB 87 standard, which went into effect in fiscal year 2022. When that happens, the county is required to restate those budgets, so that way they are presented with the debt service, not with the individual departments themselves. Next slide, please. The second financial performance indicator of concern relates to a correction in the previously issued financial statements, which is associated with leases and subscriptions that were terminated or adjusted prior to the years that had been restated. So that relates to a lease that was identified after the end of fiscal year 2023 to have ended, and it also relates to leases and agreements that were modified after the end of fiscal year 2023 to extend the lease term. Next slide, please. Thank you. There were also compliance findings. They related to technical errors noted in our Medicaid testing. I should note that there were no eligibility errors identified. These errors related to documentation errors. You're not required to respond to these compliance findings. The board is only required to respond to the financial statement findings, the two that were covered as FPICs. The board should also be aware of an upcoming GASB change, GASB 101, which relates to compensated absences. This has been discussed with your finance department. Essentially, sick leave, which prior had not been considered a liability for the county, is now going to have to be evaluated as a liability, and the finance department has to be prepared for the implementation of that standard in fiscal year 2025.
Do you mind elaborating on that just a little bit?
Sorry. Yes, ma'am. So previously, comp time and vacation time both had to be evaluated as a liability. You would evaluate a portion of it as a current liability and a portion of it as a long-term liability for any time that those employees had accrued. The state, or I should say, GASB is now saying that sick leave needs to also be considered as part of that liability. Part of the reason that I understand why they want that change is because a lot of employees are accruing considerable amounts of sick time, and that is counting towards retirement standards, so that way they can meet a certain threshold for retirement. Based off of that, they're saying that you can no longer say there's no liability associated with that. You need to make a determination, a reasonable determination of how much sick time you believe the county is going to have to pay out, or is going to be the equivalent of usage towards that retirement time for an employee.
Okay, and that's coming down from
Yes, ma'am.
that, not something you found?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's not related to fiscal year 2024, but because of the implementation in fiscal year 2025, the finance department had to look at that on July 1st, 2024. It was very important with this standard to strike it right on the day after the end of the fiscal year, because if they do not have those reports adequately at that time, it means that you can potentially not have an adequate amount of liability recorded in fiscal year 2025.
Okay.
So that's why we want the board to be aware of it, but you should also know that we've discussed that with your finance department, and it's something that I'm sure the LGC has also discussed extensively with them in any of their meetings this year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Candace, but I will be here as well if there's any further questions of me.
Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. So moving forward, we will discuss general fund activity, fund balance position of the general fund, debts, and capital projects. We will then open the floor for any questions at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. So for fiscal year 2024, we saw an increase of 15.24% in our revenues and transfers, totaling $105,333,322. Next slide, please. Fiscal year 2024's general revenues came from multiple sources. The top two revenue sources were ad valorem and sales taxes, accounting for 58.7 and 22.57 of the total respectively. Intergovernment, could you go back, please? Thank you. Intergovernmental revenue is also up there at 9.82% and is comprised of state and federal grants, court facility fees, ABC taxes, and lottery proceeds. Investment earnings, sales, services, and other make up the remainder of general fund revenues. Next, please. All revenue categories increased over last fiscal year with the exception of permits and fees and miscellaneous. Investment earnings increases as well as the increase in property tax revenue assisted in the overall increase in annual revenues for the year. The largest percentage increase was for investment earnings as interest rates climbed over the year. While some revenue categories did not exceed last fiscal year, all but a few met and/or exceeded the revenues that were budgeted. Next slide, please. Ad valorem or property taxes were the largest source of revenue, bringing in over $61 million. This revenue increased 21.6% in fiscal '24 by $10,971,235 after the property revaluation that took effect with the 2024 tax year. Next slide, please. Assessed value is shown as three different categories: real, personal, and utility properties. Real property makes up the majority of property values and is made up of commercial and residential property. Next slide, please. This graph shows the split in types of real property, residential and commercial. The overall increase for this category was $2.18 billion, with commercial real property increasing by $498 million. Next slide, please. Tax continues to do an excellent job of collecting taxes. The motor vehicle tax percentage is not actually 100%, but the state does the collections and submits to us all the revenues that they do collect. Collections exceeded the budget by $4.2 million. This graph shows different tax articles compared by the fiscal year. All articles exceeded prior fiscal year collections, and the sales tax revenue totaled $23,252,822, which is a 3.35% increase over the last fiscal year. Next slide, please. Next, we'll get into the general fund expenditures. Expenditures and transfers totaled $98,785,654, which is an increase of $11,646,522, or 13.37% over the last fiscal year. Human services, general government, and education account for the majority of those expenditures. Next slide, please. Education continues the leading trend for the county's expenditures with a total of $27,740,232. Each of the functions of government shown on the graph are independent from related debt service. The increases in expenditures for public safety can be attributed to capital outlay expenses as well as the exhaustion of the American Revenue Plan funds used for the certain public safety salaries. Next slide, please. This will begin the education expenditures. The Lee County Board of Education accounted for 30.38% of our general fund expenditures at $30,007,825. This total does include the related debt service for Lee County schools. Next slide.
Candace, can I
Yes, sir.
interrupt you there, please?
Yes.
Does that include the cost of the school resource officers?
No.
Okay, thank you.
This graph shows comparison of Board of Education funding for the previous fiscal year and the four before it. While current expense and capital outlay increased last fiscal year, the debt service did decrease slightly. This is due to the debt payoff from existing issuances. Next slide, please. Continuing education, CCCC receives accounts for 7.57% of our general fund expenditures. This does include debt service as well. Bottom line, for our general fund, the total revenues and transfers account for $105,333,322. Our IT subscription agreements, also known as, referred to as SABITAs by Mr. Wiseman, at $156,065, and lease liabilities issued, $17,840, less the total expenditures and transfers of $98,785,654 million. Net a change in the fund balance, $6,721,583. Next slide, please. That leads us to our fund balance summary. The available fund balance at June 30th is $37,655,374. This is an increase of $8,482,880 over last fiscal year. The available fund balance and total fund balance are two different numbers, and there are several types of fund balances detailed in the notes to the financial statements. Available fund balance is calculated as the total fund balance less non-spendable and restricted funds. How do we compare? Our minimum set by the board policy is 24% of our general fund expenditures. The median for our group was 46.54%, or just over $44 million based on data availability provided by the Local Government Commission. At 38.8%, we have exceeded the board's goal of the 32%. This graph shows the fund balance history since fiscal 2020. Blue is the total fund balance, and the maroon is the available fund balance. The lowest line on that graph is the minimum for our expenditure group, which is 20% of our general fund expenditures. The middle line is the board's minimum for us, and the top line is the target. Next slide, please. Our outstanding debt at June 30th, 2024 was $102,817,564 and is made up of multiple issuances. It does include the recent general obligation bonds, $25 million for the multi-sports complex, in addition to the limited obligation bonds, also for the multi-sports complex at $14.565 million. But not for the library and the emergency communication systems upgrades. General debt is now half of our outstanding debt as of June 30th, 2024, followed by the Lee County Board of Education at 28.94% of the outstanding debt, and then CCCC related debt, 22.33%. Our actual debt service payments equal 13.9% of our general fund expenditures for fiscal 2024. We do have a maximum of 15% according to our financial policy. Our outstanding debt is 1.15% of the total assessed value for fiscal 2024. Again, this is under the financial policy maximum of 2%. Part of the audit reviewed the grants that were that the county received. The county manages over $171 million in grant funds, and those includes programs that were audited were medical assistance, the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery fund, supplemental nutrition assistance program, the public school building capital fund, lottery proceeds, and the Office of State Budget and Management Special Appropriation. While there were a few findings within the medical assistance program, the department did process 585,921 Medicaid claims during the fiscal year. This next section is all about the capital projects. We have multiple capital projects going on right now in various stages of completion. The courthouse complex renovations, park improvements are shown on this slide. The remaining funds are being used for additional needs in relation to their direct project. So any additional needs for courthouse complex or in relation to courthouse is being used in those areas. Same for the parks. Next slide, please. This slide details the local, the Lee County Government Center renovations as well as the Eugene Moore Center funds. There is a deficit balance for the Eugene Moore Center as we navigate through the remaining, the hazardous waste mitigation until we go out to take additional debt for the project. This slide details out the Lee County Governmental Library Fund, and we did recently go out to debt for this, so that is not included in the revenues or other financing sources. The Bob Hales Recreation Center Fund is has paused for now, and due to inflation and other issues, that's going to be on pause for another little bit. Funds in the year will be transferred to other capital projects until we're able to secure additional funding to fully complete this project. The historic courthouse repairs and multi-sports complex funds are listed on this slide. The historic courthouse fund is funded by a reimbursable grant and transfer from our courthouse complex fund. That has been an ongoing project for a couple of years now, and it will likely remain still in place for another couple. The multi-sports complex is our only major capital project fund. The debt was issued in September and October of 2023, with groundbreaking later held in December 2023, and that project has been, you've been receiving updated updates. You've been receiving updates on that all along the way.
It's at 50% and growing.
It is doing well. The next slide, please. Kiwanis Children's Park Renovation Fund and the Temple Park Phase 2, both of these were Phase 2 projects for these parks. They are both in the finalization process. We are finishing those up now, and they will definitely be done by the end of the fiscal year. Kiwanis Children's Park was partially funded by a Part F grant, that's the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant, and a transfer from the Parks Improvements Funds that was listed on the first slide. The Temple Park Phase 2 Fund was funded by the transfer from the General Fund. Next slide, please. OT Accessibility Park Fund and Horton Park Improvements Phase 2 Fund are listed here. They are new to this fiscal year, at least fiscal 2024. As far as having activity, OT Salone is funded by a reimbursable accessibility for parks grant, plus the required match from the county. This project is, this fund is currently in the hole, as we have not received the reimbursement yet from the grantor. The Horton Phase 2 is funded by a transfer from the General Fund as well as the American Rescue Plan Fund. Next slide, please. I'd like to thank everyone that is listed on this slide, especially Thompson Price Scott Adams. They have been incredibly helpful and they've been incredibly helpful throughout this entire process. County departments, I appreciate their adherence to our budget and the audit assistance they've provided. Ms. Mentor, Board of Commissioners, thank you for your assistance, especially Ms. Mentor as she guides us through this process, and our finance staff for who have put countless hours of time that have been spent throughout the year. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to bring this statement to you. And now, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Candace and Hunter. Questions for the two? Commissioner Sharp?
No, I don't have any.
Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Vorbeck?
No, sir.
Commissioner Connect?
Thank you.
Commissioner Lovick?
Thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I did want to highlight the fact that the Lee County Board of Education gets more money than what's listed here through this school resource officer, so that's important.
Yes,
I don't
sir,
know
that
how,
is
I don't
correct.
know how it fits under their budgeting requirements, but, or how they read, but that's an important fact. Seeing
Yes,
no
sir.
further questions, thank you very much. Please drive safely, wear your seatbelts, and no speeding. And Merry Christmas, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Thank you, Hunter. I have another part to do.
Next item on the agenda is the sales tax report. I guess you're going to just stay there.
The September 2024 sales tax distribution report is attached for your review. Please remember, these reports run 3 months behind, and our sales tax collections are at 5.52% ahead of the same period last fiscal year.
Questions for Candace on the sales tax report? Commissioner Martin?
None.
Commissioner Lovick? Commissioner Connect?
Thank you.
Commissioner Vorbeck?
No, sir.
Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Sharp? No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Managers report.
I'll try to go through this pretty quickly. The athletic park, building construction, work continues on their interior drywall, exterior finishes, along with mechanical, electrical, and plumbing continues at all 5 buildings on site. Field constructor, the turf builder, is working on soccer multipurpose field construction and finalizing base stone installation. The diamond fields are installed and stabilized until site can be installed in spring of 2025. Fencing and field borders, including backstops, batting cages, and dugouts are being installed. All field lighting has been installed. Site construction focus is on the street and walkway light installation. Playground delivery with installations anticipated to occur in February 2025. Phase 1 and 2 of the Parks projects, as you heard, Kiwanis Park is, Children's Park is complete. The construction is complete. That included sidewalk expansion, shelter installation, and a playground for younger kids 2 to 5 years, and bathroom innovations. The part of grant is to be closed out by January 2025. Parks and Rec is working with Lee County Library to install a story walk along the new sidewalks throughout the park. Picnic tables have been ordered for the park as well. OT Sloan Park, the project includes the installation of sidewalk, parking improvements, and construction of playground with pad surface. The bid was just approved at your October 21st, 24 meeting, and the contract has been signed, and a pre-construction meeting was held on December 6th. Staff is working with Sanford contractors to establish a start date and construction schedule. Library building project, as you know, you've approved that contract. We held the groundbreaking on Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Construction continues with the focus on erosion control, erosion ponds, to be specific, installation and grading work for the concrete foundation pad. Historic Courthouse, we approved the bid from Herod Associates Constructors on December 2nd, and you approved the actual contract tonight, and it's part of your agenda. So we're anxious to get that moving. Horton Park parking lot improvements. The bid from Compendium Contracting LLC was approved on November 18th. The contract has been executed. ARPA funds have been obligated in compliance with the December 31st, 2024 deadline. Staff is working to schedule a pre-construction meeting to establish a project schedule. In community services, community support services, The department has hired for the behavioral health clinician position and is excited to welcome Rolanda Jones to the CSS department. Ms. Jones was previously a Lee County employee and recently rejoined the team. She holds a dual license as a clinical mental health counselor and clinical addiction specialist. So we're excited to have that position filled and to get this program up and running in the path we want it to take. You have various reports in your agenda package. You see the upcoming meetings and events and the dates our offices will be closed. Please pay special note to the January 9th, 10th, and 31st Board of Commissioners retreat. I believe you all should have received something from the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners staff that will be helping us with our strategic plan. So hopefully you've made your appointments with them to talk to them. And I'd also like to take this time to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and to say we are looking forward to more great things happening in Lee County in 2025 to keep us all good and busy.
Thank you. Questions for the manager? Commissioner Martin?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Lovick?
No questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Connect?
Thank you.
Commissioner Vorbeck?
No, sir.
Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Sharp?
Real quick,
Real quick.
when is the anticipated completion date on the library?
Jennifer, help me with that.
Last week to discuss that, and we're looking at the spring of 2026 for official opening. That also includes moving the current library into the new space and getting through punch list items.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, before we go into closed session, Commissioner comments. We'll start with Commissioner Sharp.
Just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and be safe and spend time with your family. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Commissioner Reeves.
Merry Christmas, and I had no idea we'd be here at this time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Vorbeck.
Nothing other than have a Merry Christmas and hope everyone has a wonderful New Year.
Commissioner Connect.
Hope I have a safe and happy Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Commissioner Lovick.
Thanks to all staff, employees, everyone that made a great year for Lee County. I think as we saw by numbers, we're in better shape than we were last year. It's always a good thing, but thank you to everyone for that. That great year. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Commissioner Martin.
Merry Christmas.
Will, the manager touched upon the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners staff who are going to work with our strategic plan. Please make sure you get with Amy Cannon regarding interviews and questionnaire. Fill out the questionnaire to her. The IT staff encourages, make sure you start keeping up on your know before training so that we don't have issues with crazy people sending us garbage through the email and we click on something we shouldn't be clicking on. The school board, Dare County program slides are in your packet there to consider reviewing. And I do wish to share with everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please drive safely, wear your seatbelts and no speeding. And if you are traveling, don't take anything crazy on an aircraft. Without further ado,
I move that we go into closed session for NC General Statute 143-318.11A4 to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of business.
you've heard the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to give 10 minutes so that she can get set up. So we do have 10 minutes to stroll over to the room.
My friend.
Over the ground lies a mantle of white, a heaven of diamonds shine down through the night. Two hearts are thrilling in spite of the chill in the weather. Love knows no season, love knows no clime. Romance can blossom any old time. Here in the open, we're walking walking and hoping together. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight we're having tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is the new bird. He sings a love song as we go along,
hang all the mistletoe. I'm gonna get to know you better this Christmas. And as we trim the tree, how much fun it's gonna be together this Christmas. The fireside is blazing bright. Whoa, we're caroling through the night. Whoa, this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me. Whoa, let's go. Presents and cards are here. My world is filled with cheer and you. This Christmas, and as I look around, your eyes are shine the town they do. This Christmas, the fireside is blazing bright, and we're caroling through the night. is right, the spirit's up. We're here tonight, and that's enough. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. The party's on, the feeling's here. That only comes this time of year. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. The choir of children sing their song. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. We're simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. The word is out about the town to lift a glass. Oh, don't look down. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. The choir of children sing their song. They practiced all year long. Ding dong, 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 dong, dong. The party's on, the spirit's up. We're here tonight, and that's enough. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. We're simply having a wonderful Christmas time. The mood is right, the spirit's up. We're here tonight. Oh, that's enough. We're simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Wonderful Christmas time.
wait for us. Sing a chorus or two. Oh, come on, it's lovely weather for us. Stay right together with you. Jingle bells, 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 and rhyming ladies with it. Up, up, and away.
the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and when you walk down the street, say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet. Ho, ho, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year. Have a holly jolly Christmas, it's the best time of the year. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and when you walk down the street, say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet. Oh, ho, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
young virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glories stream from heaven afar, heavenly host sing hallelujah. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is Silent night, holy night, Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. This beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls that'll talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. There's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well. It's the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that'll make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. Sure, it's Christmas once more.
Just pull your chair up close to your radio. Tune it up good and loud. 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 Tune it up good and loud.
Well, I don't know, but I've been told there's something going on at the North Pole. Santa and his elves at a factory, dancing around the world's biggest Christmas tree. They're doing a Santa Claus boogie. It's a Santa Claus boogie. You gotta take some time to believe in Santa Claus. My Uncle Henry's got a bad back. When he tries to walk, you hear him pop and crack. But at Christmas time, the spirit sets him free. He jumps and hollers doing the Santa Claus boogie. It's the Santa Claus boogie. It's the Santa Claus boogie. You gotta take some time to believe in Santa Claus. All right. I knew an Indian girl, she was way too young. She liked to talk dirty in a native tongue. You never seen nobody shake and shimmy like an Indian dancer doing the Santa Claus boogie. It's a Santa Claus boogie. It's a Santa Claus boogie. Said, hey, ho, Lena, ho, ho, no witching idea. Ronnie Getman on a slide guitar.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa baby, an outer space convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the fellas that I haven't kissed. Next year I could be oh so good if you'll check off my Christmas list. Bidoo, Santa honey, I want a yacht, and really that's not a lot. I've been an angel all year, Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa cutie, there's one thing I really do need, the deed to a platinum mine. Santa cutie, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa baby, and fill my stocking with a duplex and checks. Sign your ex on the line, Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Come and trim my Christmas tree with some decorations bought at Tiffany's. I really do believe in you. Let's see if you believe in me. Bidoo, Santa baby, forgot to mention one little thing, a ring. I don't mean on a phone, Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Hurry down the chimney tonight. Hurry down the chimney tonight.
The snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, but I can't weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I can't remember a worse December. Just watch those icicles fall. What do I care if icicles fall? I've got my love to keep me warm. Off with my overcoat, off with my glove. I need no overcoat, I'm burning with love. My heart's on fire, the flame grows higher, so I will weather the storm, storm, storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I've got my love to keep me warm.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree won't be the same, girl, if you're not here with me. And when those blue snowflakes start falling, it's when those blue heartaches start calling. You'll be doing alright with your Christmas of white. Oh, but I'll have a blue, blue Christmas. And when those blue snowflakes start falling, it's when those blue heartaches start calling. You'll be doing alright with your Christmas of white. Oh, but I'll have a blue, blue Christmas. Yeah, but I'll have a blue, blue Christmas. A blue Christmas.
Nights are getting shorter now, hot chocolate fills the air and Christmas cheer does too. Picking out your Christmas tree so loudly, the joy this time it brings to you.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only
the bloom from the rose. So little Jack Frost, go away, go away. And don't you come back another day. There's lots of cold feet, all the lovers complain. You turned off the heat down in Lover's Lane. The bench in the park is all alone in the dark. So little Jack Frost, get lost, get lost. Little Jack Frost, get lost. Oh, little Jack Frost, go away, go away. And don't you come back another day. There's lots of cold feet, all the lovers complain. You turned off the heat down in Lover's Lane. The bench in the park is all alone in the dark. So little Jack Frost, get lost, get lost. Little Jack Frost, get lost.
Hold on, you ready?
Move to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now adjourned. Please drive safely, wear your seatbelts. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you all next year if I don't see you before then.